Hold up.
People ask me about my pop art process, so I'm going to walk you through the Photoshop part and then I'll show you the painting side. So first thing is you want to load up your photo in Photoshop. A high quality image is going to work best. So you're going to be able to make it full screen and still have a nice clear image. Also, lighting is important, so if you can find a picture with pretty even lighting or something that's professionally taken, you're going to have better results. So we're going to start by removing everything from the background using the quick selection tool. And you can enlarge the quick selection tool or make it smaller just like you would a brush with your bracket keys. And so we're going to go in and start selecting everything except for the image. There we go. So you can just click and it will add. You don't have to hold shift or anything. If it accidentally gets something that you don't want, you can hold the option key and it will give you that part of the selection back. So you can kind of fine tune this. It doesn't have to be perfect because we're going to paint it. It doesn't have to be print quality. Going to go through and get a rough selection. A lot of detail in this. If you can find a picture that has a pretty even background, or if you're taking pictures and you want to take them in front of a solid background, you can make this a lot faster. If you use a green screen, you're going to want to light from behind the person, and you're also going to want to keep your distance so you don't get any funky green reflection. Okay, not perfect, but good enough. And get this little piece down here. Okay. Sometimes quick mask mode can be helpful too. If you hit the Q key, you can kind of see your selection. You can also paint in more selection or erase it with the brush and the eraser tool. So I'm kind of just paint in a little bit more of a selection right here, and I can erase right here to just make it a little smoother. Oops, we don't want that. Okay, get it cleaned up a little bit. Okay, this looks pretty good. If I want to smooth it out more, I can go over up here to refine edge. If you have the newer version, it's called mask, I believe. And you can change the way you see it, so you can see it from this marching ants view, but you can also look at your selection in different ways. I kind of like to see it like this, so I can see all these little bumps and ridges. So if I go in here to smooth, I can get a lot smoother selection. If I adjust the contrast, I can get rid of that blur. And then before I delete the background, I need to unlock the layer. If you don't unlock the layer, you might get something really weird like this. So if this happens, you forgot to unlock the layer. So if we unlock the layer and hit delete, then it's just going to take it away for us. To get rid of your selection, you can just hit Command D. Alright, so we're going to make a couple copies of this. Just right click on the layer and duplicate it. I always have my students make 3. And then we kind of save this one as our original in case we need to go back. So I'm going to select this layer and make a new layer right here. It's just going to add a layer for me. I'm going to fill this layer with gray. So use my paint bucket tool. Alright, now I'm going to go to my top layer and I want to go back to my default colors, so I can just hit the D key. I can click on this little icon as well. And I'm going to use a filter. So I'm going to go to Filters and Filter Gallery. And I've been using this so it already goes into this filter. But if you haven't done it before, it's going to look like this. You're going to want to select the Sketch folder and the Torn Edges filter. And when you first start, it's probably going to look weird. It's probably going to look something like this. So you want to make sure your smoothness is all the way up. And then this image balance is where you can have some fun. So you want to kind of find the sweet spot in your image. I like to make 2 layers of values. So the first layer, I'm going to do something like this where it looks good, but I don't have quite enough details in the face. So I'm going to do this one, and then I'm going to go down to my second layer and do a filter gallery again. Don't do this top option because that will just repeat the same filter gallery options you just selected. So you want to actually move down, click on this filter gallery, and then I'm going to take my image balance down, or up, I guess. Maybe something like this. Now what I'm going to do is select my top layer again and take my opacity down. So if you see right here, I can adjust my opacity. You can pull the slider up, or you can even just click on the word opacity and drag. But what that's going to do is allow that second layer to show through. So now I've got something like this. Now it's a little close, so I can go back to my background. Maybe I'll darken up my background a little bit here. And there you have it. Now we've got the image broken down into 3 layers. We've got our black, gray, and white. And when students create their pop art, they can do those different values in any color that they choose. So I'm going to go ahead and save this. You may want to flatten your image first, or you may want to keep it as a Photoshop document if you want to be able to go back and edit that. So maybe I'll save a copy as a PSD. And then if you want a file that's a little smaller and easier to work with, I usually, when my students turn these in, I have them flatten the image and then save as a JPEG. So you can change this to JPEG. And once you do that, it's going to give you an option on file size. I usually go all the way maximum just so I can get the best print quality. And now I've got the file and I can open it up and print it. So I got the JPEG and the PSD, and they look exactly the same.
Hold up.